Hey YouTube, Coppersan here. Yesterday there was a 5-hour Q&A session with the developers and directors of MapleStory. They discussed improving the game and future content plans. So if you're a fellow MapleStory enjoyer, buckle up because we're gonna go over all the important things that were discussed. Starting off with the cool stuff, it was announced that the next big update for MapleStory will be called Ignition, and the showcase for this update will be released on the 11th of June. This update will include a continuation of the story unfolding in QandA and the remastering of the Night of Sickness classes. That's including our golden boy Michiel. MapleStory Global and MapleStory C are expected to get this update in the winter of this year, as our Destiny update containing the Explorer remaster is being released mid-June for Maple Global and a bit earlier for MapleStory C. In the Q&A session it was mentioned that Nexon will not be focusing on adding more classes for the time being, and instead will continue remastering old classes like they did with the Explorers and now soon to be Night of Sickness. Like with the Explorers, they aren't planning on changing the identity of classes, but instead want to fix problems and update skill visuals. I already mentioned this in like some older videos, but they for example plan to remove the need to jump attack as a Nightwalker, and the bossing attacks from Dawn Warrior shouldn't lift the character in the air anymore, changes like that. And of course updated visuals. We also learned that the classes that will be remastered after the Night of Sickness will be the Resistance classes. This will also include the Demons and Xenon of course, however this doesn't mean that there won't be any changes in between. For example, Angelic Buster got some big changes both damage wise and visually to her bossing skill recently in the MapleStory Korea version. Also, more good news to everyone who's always waiting for burning events. There are finally plans to add burninators to the daily login reward, most likely those that will get you up to level 150. Those will be added in June in MapleStory Korea, and if that's coming to us, that will be then in the winter update. There also are plans to improve the Legion system, like adding more characters to the raid and things like that. They actually mentioned that they have a patent on the Tetris Legion system, so they don't want to change that unless it becomes too troublesome. Like what the heck, they have a patent on the Legion Tetris system? I never logged in thinking, wow, I can't wait to adjust my Legion and fiddle with my Legion blocks until everything fits today. That's gonna be so much fun. But that just could be me. So I wouldn't mind if they made it a little bit easier though. I just can't get over that they have a patent for Legion, what the heck. There also was a lot of discussion about leveling and party play. Nexon seems to have this strange allergy towards allowing players to grind together. Being able to progress alone is a great strength, but I don't see it impossible to add more party play by, for example, having this instance map so everyone has their own monsters, but Maplers can still join a party with other Maplers in the same map, but you can't really KS each other, and then party play that way. Nexon mentioned that they don't want to add any party play like that, or like the old school days where you have that party play where you get more EXP together, but instead they will focus on allowing Maplers to play together during seasonal events. I really don't get why they don't just increase the EXP and rewards from PQs. There's already so much amazing party play content in the game that's just dead because it's not worth it at the moment to do so. Just boost the EXP and the rewards and more people will PQ anyway. Sometimes it really seems that the MapleStory developers got kinda lucky with the way they designed the game and the success they had with it, and now that players want changes, they're so afraid to deviate even slightly from what's currently working that they're paralyzed to add anything that could upset the status quo. Co-op gameplay shouldn't be the best and only way to progress, but at least it should be on equal footing compared to the solo content. MapleStory is an MMO after all, but the developers sometimes seems to kinda miss that point. How do you feel about party play in MapleStory? Actually, let me know in the comments. The next important highlights are going to be a little bit all over the place. There are plans to help unlucky players with their Star Force losses. Nexon mentioned that they don't want to reduce the amount of average attempts that are needed when Star Forcing, but they do want to help out outliers who are just very unlucky. I'm thinking they are hinting towards some kind of system that other games like Lost Ark have, where if you fail an enhancement a couple of times, the success chance will go up. I can see something like that being added. Nexon also mentioned improving the cube rank up rates and increasing the rates of which important lines appear, like boss damage, IED, attack, stuff like that. This will be done gradually, so the value of items doesn't tank, which is pretty smart. But before you start saving up your cubes for the next 6 months, do keep in mind that at least in MapleStory Global, the rank up chance already is a lot higher than it is in MapleStory Korea. So if we would get something similar like this, it remains to be seen for now. There were also mentions of adding more trading maps, improving monster EXP and improving the overall EXP gain from content like Polo and Frittle portals and Monster Park, so that Maplers who don't play that much still have decent ways to gain EXP in a shorter time frame. There will be newer Monster Park stages, and some stages like the Night Stronghold stage are being reviewed because Maplers are clearing that a lot, as that's the fastest one to actually clear, but that wasn't really intended by the developers to be working that way. For all you crafters out there, there's also good news. There are plans to reduce the decay of your Meister ranks. It most likely won't go away completely, but it will be improved so that the demand to keep crafting will be a lot lower. And there's also good news for starting Maplers. There are plans to improve the tutorial and to simplify some systems to help newer players understand features better. They even mentioned adding like some sort of guide system, and they will create guide videos to explain content. So next one, if you need help, let me know, man. Plans are also in the work to add more stats to the stat window. Things like attack speed, magic and weapon attack, which are very nice and kinda overdue. There are plans to improve the ways to get authentic symbols for all you high level Maples out there through event stores and big events, just reducing the price on that a little bit, nothing too fancy. And there are plans to improve some boss attack patterns, and especially the random ones. I got super frustrated the other day when I was fighting Lucid and she just randomly teleported me into that big green one-shot beam, like twice. There was no counterplay, just too bad, sucks to be you, man. So I wouldn't mind if they take a look at things like that. They also mentioned looking into Magnus' meteors and Dusk and Darknell's attack patterns just to make things slightly less random. There are plans to add more visual clarity when bosses are debuffed, and for example when a boss can be bound again. This would actually be super helpful. I can imagine something like debuff timers under the boss health bar. There are also more talks about being able to skip more story quests after you complete them once, and next will mention that they're looking into improving inner abilities more and perhaps even add inner ability presets in the future. And finally, for all reboot players out there are plans to make it easier to obtain Absolab gear by improving the rewards from the weekly quests, so from Scrapyard and Demon Camp, so that progress doesn't take that long anymore. I would love something like that for the Arcane set too, please. This one is taking me months to collect. And there were most important changes that were discussed in this event. If you want to know everything that was discussed, because these are just the highlights, I saw that Orange Mushroom blog post with a summary of all questions and answers, so make sure to check that out as well. I'll leave a link for that in the top comment. And what do you think of all these changes in the future of MapleStory? Let me know in the comments. And that was all for today. As always, many thanks to our members for making these videos possible. Thanks to Niels de Coninck, Raar maar waar, Sebastian, Hanoy, Ryalias, Terry Kim, Vareese, QandA, Historycanon, BackSpaceOTI, Saffronyx, Anwar NHI, Ziggy Flidiot, Knifesu, Chen125, Cloudfix, Gusus Rodriguez, Froggy, Vira, Trevor, Michael Machaka, Ratius, Justin Vale, Silvio Nato, Stevie Zhang, Afterlord_MS, ceemak, Striker Elk, Taiwan Pan, Victor Sundstrom, Radical Jaws, Riser RU, Gummy Bullet, Lovebird, Surtito655, Mathias Simonsson, Mr. Anarch, Galando Balavia. My name is Coppersan and I'm super cute XOXO. PC Game Life, Dante Victory, Stanislaus Kasumo Vegas, level 243 Paladin Reboot, The Passenger, Martin Panzik, I'm Disappointed, Lucky Beats, Gabriel Eck, Pedro Bonetti, Kandrar Castales and Ace Light. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe and happy mapling!